It's time for another math easy solution. It was discuss well, basically inequalities. Just look at some rules on this one. Later videos I'll do some more examples. But basically, these are the 5 rules for inequalities. So if you have a number a that's always, if it's less than b here, then if you add another number to it, it's gonna still, like, if you have, then you're gonna have a plus c, it's gonna be less than b plus c. And then the second one is basically if a is less than b, and then c is less than d, and if you just put these, if you add a with c, it's going to be less than b and d here. I'll explain further into these. I just want to go over these quickly. First, basically this one, the third one, if a is less than b as well, and c is greater than 0, and if you multiply both sides by c, it doesn't really change anything. It's going to be less than a, but if c is less than 0, you have to switch the signs here. So if you times it by a negative, you're going to have to switch the signs. I'll explain this further. And also this one here, if you have basically b is greater than a, and this is positive, so it's greater than 0, then dividing it out, if you divide both sides just over itself, you're gonna have to switch the sign here. So this goes from here, and then now it goes to a greater than here. And I'll explain these further. If we look at the first one here, yeah, the first one can be illustrated easily. If you just let's just say a is this one is a is 2 and b is, let's say, 3, so we're gonna have 2 is less than 3, and let's say c is equal to, I don't know, 4, I guess. So we could just, if you just add these up, 2 plus 4 less than 3 plus 4, as you can see, this is gonna be 6 less than 7 here, and this is true here. So this one is pretty straightforward. And if you look at the second one here, if a is less than b, we'll just pick 2 and 3 again. So if you just pick something like this here, and c is less than d here, so we'll say 4 is less than d, less than 5 here. This could be c, this could be d here. So then if you just add these up, it doesn't really change anything. So you're gonna have 2 plus 4 minus 3 plus 5, so this will always stay true here. This is gonna be a 6 minus, or less than 8 here, and this is pretty obvious here. So now the third one, yeah, this third one is when we multiply it by c this time. So if we look at 2 and less than 3 again, now if we just multiply it by c, which is, to say c is 4, we're gonna get 2 times 4 is less than, well, 3 times 4, and this is pretty obvious that it's true. 8 is less than 12 here. So now when we get to number 4, it's a bit trickier. So 4 is the case, yes, this one here is basically the same thing as 3, except where c is less than 0, or it's negative here. So if we pick again, 2 is less than 3 here, and let's say c is equal to, let's just pick it a -1 here, and this is less than 0 here. So if you multiply both sides by this, you're going to get, well, -1 times it by 2. I'll leave this just blank here, this thing here, because you're going to have to switch it. And this is going to be a -1 times 3 here. So then this side's going to equal to -2, and this side's equal to -3 here. And if you look at a number line here, if this is x, what's greater than equal to is based on whatever's to the right. So if you have, let's say, 2, this is 3, -2 is going to be here, and 3 is going to be here. This 3 is greater than 2, but then this, oh, this is negative there, and then this -2 is greater than -3 here, just by the convention we have on what's greater here than it. So then this one is going to be greater than it, so we just put this here, or greater than here. And you could also look at this, yeah, so as you can see, this sign switches when you multiply it by a -1. You could also look at this, if you can also go from here and look at it in a different way. Let's say alternatively, you could go, let's say 2 is less than 3. If you start off with this as a and b, and let's just subtract both sides by -2 here. So we'll just go -2, just add it to it, -2. So we're gonna get a 0 less than a this one is just gonna be a 1 here. Actually, just leave that. Don't really subtract it. And so now when we have this one here, just subtract both sides by -3 now. So we're gonna get now, let's put a plus. So -3 is less than, this 3's cancelled, -2 here. So alternatively, you could just subtract, yeah, you could just subtract it like this, and as you can see here, -2 is greater than -3. So this switching one, you could see it by moving it to the other side here, and that's one you're gonna have the exact same thing here. -2 is bigger than -3, and this one's -2 is bigger than -3. So that's all you do there. So now let's look at number 5 here. So in number 5, the rule is basically if you have a and b are positive, a is less than b here, so it's greater than 0, both of them, then you switch signs when you divide it by, if you have 1 over a, it's going to be greater than 1 over b, even though that a is less than b here. So let's look at this further. So let's just use 2 and 3 again. So 2 is less than 3 here. So the way that I usually get this wrapped around my head is that basically I look at this 2 as less than 3 here. Let's just divide both sides by 2 times 3 here. 2 times 3 here. And then this cancels. Yeah, this 3's cancel here, and this 2's cancel. So we're left with now 1 over 3 is less than 1 over 2 here is greater than it. So as you can see, the sign has switched. This 1 over 2 is on the other side here. As you can see, it's pretty obvious there. And this is just that same rule here. And this one is, if you write it in a number fashion, 3, 3, etc. goes on. This means goes on forever. Is less than 0.5 here. Yeah, so as you can see, it's pretty straightforward here. So I would just divide both sides, and you can see that this is true here. And then but if these were let's say negative here, if this was, let's say, 3 or negative 3 is less than negative 2 is less than 0 here, so they're both less than 0 in this case here. So what we will actually have, we'll just get this one, but we'll switch the sign here, so we'll get negative 1 over 3 greater than negative 1 over 2 here. And the way that so this is based on rule 4 here. So we have this one here, and if we're just multiplying by a negative, there gets all they're becoming is negative, and then we just switch the signs. As you can see, this makes sense as well, because you'll have on the number sign 0, x. This is gonna be, let's say, 0.33 negative, and it's gonna be 0.5, etc. negative here, and this number here is greater than this one here. But this one, you could also go look at this one here. Or actually, just look at this sign here. We could just do the same thing I did before. You could look at it like this, negative 2, and then just divide both sides by 2 times 3, divided by 2 times 3, and then this is just going to cancel. This cancels. We're going to be left with negative 1 over 2 is less than, it's going to be negative 1 over 3 here. Yeah, this is negative 1 over 3, and this is the exact same thing as this one here, just greater than it. Well, that's all for today. Hope you learned about these random rules on inequalities. In the next video, I'll do some pretty complex examples illustrating how to use all these rules and etc. And it's pretty straightforward. Hopefully you learn them. You can download these notes in the Dropbox link below, and that's all. And stay tuned for another math easy solution.